నారాయణం నమస్కృత్య నరం చైవ నరోత్తమం దేవీం సరస్వతీం వ్యాసం తతో జయముదీరయేత్. ఓం. Dear friends, welcome to the study of Mahabharata. Yesterday we saw that great episode where Bhishma made a huge, great resolve. He made a big pratignya. Pratignya means a vow, a resolve. He made a pratignya, I am giving away my kingdom. I don't have any claim on I will not claim this kingdom. Not only will I not claim the kingdom, even my children, of course, I will not even have children. How? I will not even marry. So I will remain a brahmachari. So that sort of pratignya he did in order to secure a wife for his father. His father, his father was Shantanu. So he went to the banks of Yamuna on one evening. And he saw this lady who was this fairy lady. And he just first inhaled a scent, a very nice fragrance. And in search of that fragrance, he went and then he saw that lady. And he immediately fell in love, and then he went to her father, and then he asked, and then his father put a condition. And thereafter, because he was not inclined to fulfill that condition, he came back. So this is the story which we saw yesterday. And Bhishma asked him, why, oh father, why are you sad? Everything is okay. All the kings are obeying us. Why are you sad? Then he said, okay, having one son is like having no son at all, etc., etc. We saw yesterday. And after all that, Bhishma himself, he took some elderly people, and then he went to that the chief of the fishermen, or rather the king of fishermen, let us say. And then he made a proposal. Okay, we request you to give your daughter to my father. Then the gentleman, he said, no, how can I invite enmity with you? How can I purchase enmity with you? Because anybody who is going to be, the person who is going to be my grandson, so he will be your enemy, he will be your rival, because you will be claiming the kingdom. And anybody who is opposed to you, he will certainly not live, because you are such a great man. So then Bhishma says, he did that great vow, I will not marry at all. So that is what we saw. And then he immediately took that lady. He said, oh mother, he said, Mataha, adhiroha ratham mataha, gachhava swagruhaniti. Adhiroha ratham mataha, oh mother. Mataha means, oh mother, adhiroha ratham, you please get onto this chariot, let us go home. So then he went, he took her home, and then he presented her before his father, and then his father was really surprised, and he accepted her, and again he gave some boon, a boon to Bhishma. That is a boon that what is called Swachhanda Maranam. Swachhanda Maranam means Bhishma will not die unless he chooses to die. That was what the boon which was given to this Bhishma by Shantanu. So that is where one sarga, sarga number 100 ends. We come to the next sarga, 101, where that lady Satyavati, we know that lady Satyavati, who is the daughter of that fisherman, and that lady to Shantanu, she bears 2 more children. If you recall, that lady earlier, he got a son through one sage called Parashara. That sage Parashara, when this lady was ferrying people across that river Yamuna, sage Parashara happened to see her, and then he expressed his desire for her, and then through her he got a son named sage Vyasa. And then he also gave a boon, all your fish smell will go and you will become a Yojana Gandhi, and then to a long distance your fragrance will spread out. So that is how she was, and then he also said, you will remain a virgin, in spite of giving birth to a child, you will be a virgin. So fine. So then, of course, these things we should not question. Let us only see the spirit. So then, what happened? The spirit is, what is the spirit here? That even the sages, they were marrying the people of the so-called fishermen, etc. And the children born to those fishermen or women, they were also considered as sages. That is the point which we see in the olden days. If we see that society was, in fact, if we see even by modern day standards, they were very liberal. So a sage marrying a fisherman's daughter, and the son born to that fisherman's daughter is accepted as a sage, that is sage Vyasa. And they say not only accepted as an ordinary sage, he is the man who edited all the Vedas. He is a man who wrote this Mahabharata. So that is the point which we have to see. Then what happens to this Shantanu and his new wife Satyavati? Shantanu's old wife is Ganga. Ganga has gone away. Now this new wife is this Satyavati. So he weds this Satyavati and he gets two children, two sons. The first boy's name is Chitrangada. Chitrangada is also the name of a female. Sometimes Chitrangada, if you make it Da, it becomes a female name. Chitrangada, if you say, it becomes a male name. Chitrangada, a wonderful ornaments, person having wonderful ornaments, etc. Then other boy is Vichitravirya. Vichitravirya. So wonderful valor, exquisite valor. So that this, if you just see the names, you can even forget these names because they are not very important. Let us know, remember the name Bhishma, and then thereafter what is going to happen to these two boys, etc. we will just see today. So these two boys, the first one is Chitrangada, and when the boy grew up, after the boy also grew into a very valorous and very bold person, and a very great archer and a valorous person. So after some time, this Shantanu, because of old age, he passed away. Swargate Shantanu Bhishma Chitrangada Marindamam. So when that Shantanu passed away, Bhishma, with the permission of that Satyavati Satyavati is that fisherwoman who is the wife of that King Shantanu, and now whom Bhishma is treating her as his mother. So with the permission of that mother, Satyavati, he made her son, that Chitrangada, first son, because the eldest son has to be the king. So he made that boy the king. And Bhishma was there as a guardian. Bhishma, throughout, he remains a guardian only. Even after Dhritarashtra and all these people become kings and whatnot. So Bhishma, of course, no longer is a guardian because all these people are capable. And when these people are capable, Bhishma just is only an elderly man giving some advice, etc. But in the case of Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, he was a guardian because these people were still young. And this Chitrangada was, of course, no doubt he was bold, but then he did not consider anybody as an equal to him. Satu Chitrangada Shauryat Sarvan Shikshepa Parthivan. So he used to challenge everybody. I am reading from chapter number 101 in case you are having a book. So this man, this Chitrangada, young man, because he was a very strong person, he was challenging everybody and he was insulting everybody, and he was also rash, proud, and he was like that. Tam kshipantam suranshaiva manushan asuranstata. He was challenging everybody. He was challenging humans, asuras, and everybody. And it so happened that there was one Gandharva Raja. Gandharvas are some celestial beings. We have some celestial beings like Gandharva, Yaksha, Kinnara, etc. in our Purana literature. Maybe they may not be celestials, they might have been some other distant tribes, we are not sure. Sociologically, we do not know who they are. But right now, let us say, okay, according to the text, let us say they are celestials. So that celestial person, he was also a very bold, strong person, and he had the same name, Chitrangada. So this Chitrangada challenged him, hey, you are having my name, let us fight, let us see who is strong. So that Gandharva he fought, and then that Gandharva, because the Gandharvas are very powerful and they also know some Maya. Maya means some sort of magical fight, some deceitful fights and all that. So in that fight also happened in the same Kurukshetra where we are going to see this Mahabharata war. And in that duel between this Chitrangada and that other Chitrangada who is a Gandharva, this Chitrangada who is the son of Satyavati, who is a human being, he dies. Then what happens? Then, okay, the young man, the fellow has died, the other person is still a boy. The other person's name was Vichitravirya. Vichitravirya again, the meaning is valorous, wonderful valor. And that Vichitravirya, Bhishma again, with the permission of that Satyavati, he installs him as the king, and he himself remains the guardian. And of course, that boy also grows up. When the boy grows up, then he comes to the marriageable age. When he comes to that marriageable age, then they have to get some bride. So in those days, now we come to this chapter number 102. In those days, the kings, they used to announce what was called a Swayamvara. Swayam means self, Vara means to select. That is the bride, not the man selecting the girl selecting the man. So that was a nice procedure. That is choice by self, only self-choice you can say, or choice by self. Swayamvara. Swayam means the girl herself chooses the bridegroom. So at that time, what used to happen, all the kings, all the aspirants, we can say, all the aspirants, maybe young, old, all types of people, they used to line up in their best attire and then with best makeup and whatnot, and then they used to parade. And this girl used to just go around and then know the background of everybody. There would be some people explaining to her, oh, he is such a great king, he has defeated so many people, he is so valorous, etc., etc. And that man will be twirling his mustache. So like that, and again, when she moves to the next man, this man's mustache comes down. So then again she moves like that. So then she chooses her bridegroom, a person of her choice. And maybe if she already knows somebody, immediately she goes to him and then puts that garland on his neck. So that was the system at that time. So at that time, one king, he was the king of Kashi, Kashi Raja. Kashi, we know, Kashi is the present day Benares. Kashi literally means, Kashi means that which is shining. Kashi, it has got another name called Varanasi. Varanasi has now become Benares. In English it has become Benares. The correct name is Varanasi and the old name is Kashi. So that Kashi Raja announced this Swayamvara, that self-choice for his three daughters. We'll just take a break and come. Let us come back. So when this Kashi Raja announced Swayamvara for his three daughters, then Bhishma came to know of it, and he had to secure those girls for this boy, because in those days not one girl, the kings used to marry 1, 2, 3 like that. So Bhishma wanted to secure those girls for this boy to get married, for the boy's sake, not for his sake. Bhishma, of course, he has already taken a vow, he has made a vow that he would not marry. So Bhishma went there, and then he alone went. Ekaratha, that is what our text says. Ekaratha dadarsha kanyastaschaiva bhishmasya antanunandanaha rathena ikena shatrujit. Because he was such a great fighter, and he knew all the astras. He didn't need any support of anybody. He didn't need any army with him. So he went straight away. He went alone. And when this man went, then all of the people, they started laughing. Oh, we have been hearing that this Bhishma was such a virtuous man. Vruddha paramadharmatma vali palitadharanaha. People say, Vruddha, this gentleman is old. Paramadharmatma, we have been hearing that this man is a highly virtuous person. But we see he is so vali palita dharanaha means a person who is having some wrinkles on his face and white hair, and this man also has come to woo the brides. So then, kim karana mihayataha nirlajjaha bharatarshava. Nirlajjaha means shamelessly he has come here. And they started insulting him. Mithya pratignyo lokeshu. Mithya pratignya. This man has he is said to have made some sort of vow and whatnot. Mithya pratignya means all bogus, all false. So then he says he is a brahmachari, but now he has come for the brides. What is this? He is such a, what can we say, hypocrite. So they have been saying that he is a hypocrite. Then Bhishma grew angry. And then he told them, yes, now I am going to take away these girls. I will forcibly take away these girls, because for a Kshatriya it is allowed. Of course, he also told them there are 8, because those fellows, they didn't know what was dharma in those days. The dharma in those days, we are now talking of a time when the social values were still getting evolved, when the system of marriage was not yet fully evolved. There were different types of marriages for different types of people. For example, when Bhishma told at that gathering, he challenged all of them, and then he told them there are different types of marriage. And for example, there is what is called a Brahma Vivaham. Brahma Vivaham is all these saintly people, sages and all these people, in a very gentle manner, they used to invite the bridegroom, and they used to offer the daughter and they used to perform a yajna, and in that yajna, along with a cow, they used to offer this daughter to him, and then this boy used to go away. That is a gentlemanly vivaha, arsha vivaham. Then there is another thing called arsha vivaham and brahma vivaham. Then again what was called rakshasa vivaham. Rakshasa vivaham is forcibly abducting a girl. That was one type of vivaha. Then Gandharva vivaha. Gandharva means the boy and girl love each other. It is a sort of love marriage. What we call love marriage was called Gandharva vivaha. Then there were other marriages like that. We need not go into all those details. And he says, this for the kings, abducting, forcibly taking a girl away and challenging all others by defeating all others. If I can take the girl away and take the girls away, that is something which is accepted for a Kshatriya. Swayamvaram tu rajanyah prashamsanti upayanti cha. Kshatriyah prashamsanti, rajanyah prashamsanti. That is for a Kshatriya, the most respectable way is to forcibly challenge everybody and take away the girls. Now you have been ridiculing me, I am old and whatnot and all that. You fight. If all of you, if you can come together, all put together, you come and fight me. Then they take up the challenge. Immediately, all the marriage dress they leave and then they put on. Now, wonderful description here. The bhushananam cha sarvesham kavachanam cha sarvasha. There was such a clatter of all these kavacha. Kavacha means all these armors, body armor, etc. They took off their marriage clothes and then fine clothes and then put on the body armors and whatnot, and then all the bows, arrows, and then clanging of swords and whatnot. So all of them they came to challenge this man. Then there was such a tumultuous fight. There was a fight, one man against so many people. Ekasya bahunam cha tumulam romaharshanam. Ekasya cha bahunam cha. One side there is one, bahunam, too many people. Tumulam means a tumultuous, probably cognate word. Tumulam, romaharshanam. That was the thrilling, such a thrilling fight took place. Romaharshanam means the onlookers, the hair will bristle and stand up. That is romaharshanam. Roma means hair. Romaharshanam is making the hair happy. That is what, even the hair stand up. That is what. So that went on for some time, and then they were no match for him, and he was able to ward off all the arrows which were shot by them. Tasya atipurushan anyan laghavam rathacharinaha. Even the enemies started admiring this man. And thereafter, when all the people retreated, one man, of course, he was also a strong person. He was king of Shalva, the kingdom called Shalva. That Shalva kingdom, Mahabahu Amarshena Prachoditaha. So he came and challenged Bhishma again. And he was also a great warrior. And then there was a big fight. There was again a duel between them. And all the other people, the defeated people, used to cheer up. They began to cheer up that man, that Shalva Raja. Yes, now you are able to challenge this man. We have now found a challenger. So after some time, even that man got defeated. So this Bhishma, he had already forcibly took those three girls and then kept them in his chariot. Forcibly he had kept them in his chariot. And he was fighting with this Shalva Raja. And he killed the Sarathi, that is the charioteer of that man. He also killed the horses. And of course, he just after defeating him, he didn't kill that king. He just left him alive. He just left him, okay, I am leaving you alive, you go back, you go away. So he didn't want to kill that king. So then with these three girls, he came back to Hastinapura. And then what happened? Then Anayamasa Kashyasya Sutah Sagaragas Sutah. So he took the girls and then as his own daughters. In fact, Vyasa is very meticulous about describing all these details. So like one takes one's own daughters. Like as a Kshatriya, as a valorous Kshatriya, he faced a ridicule. He faced a ridicule from all those people and then he challenged. Probably had he not faced ridicule, he probably would not have challenged. So after they ridiculed him, he challenged them and then got these girls. And then, like his own daughters, he says, Snusha vasa dharmatma. Snusha is daughter-in-law, like his own daughters or his own daughters-in-law. He took them and then he gently took them to the mother, that is Satyavati. And then at that time, all the while that first there are three girls. Girls' names are Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. So these names also in the course of time you may forget. But Amba, you can please remember that name, the first girl. All the while that girl kept quiet, but after coming to this place, then she started saying, no, I have loved that Shalva Raja. I want to have in my mind that Shalva Raja is there, and that Shalva Raja, the king, that Shalva who actually finally challenged Bhishma and then got defeated by Bhishma. I loved, probably she was expecting that Shalva Raja would defeat Bhishma. That is the reason why she was just watching. So when that Shalva Raja also got defeated and this man drove the chariot to this place, probably at that time she said, I am in love with that Shalva Raja and he also loves me. And in that Swayamvara, in that ceremony called Swayamvara, that is selection by self-choice, let us say. So in that Swayamvara, I was about to garland him and he was about to marry me. Then Bhishma, out of reverence for that lady, out of great regard and reverence for that lady, he immediately sent her back along with some escorts. He sent some Brahmanas along with her and put her in a chariot, and then he said, okay, you please take her back. Of course, there is what happens to her, that is again a big story. We will see that story later. I will very briefly tell what happens to her is, that lady goes back to that Shalva Raja, and then she says, okay, now I have come back. I told him like this, I love you, I have come back. Then that Shalva Raja also is a man of great self-respect. Of course, he could have taken her back, but at that time, it was hurting to his self-respect. Somebody who has been won by a girl, who has been won by challenged and won by somebody else, and then out of compassion sent back, it is an insult for him to take her back. So like a real Kshatriya, he says, no, I cannot take you back because you have been won by him and I cannot take you back. It is an insult to me. Then this lady again goes back to Bhishma, yes, this is what has happened to me. Now there is no other way, you marry me. Or rather, you again marry to that fellow Vichitravirya. That Vichitravirya says, no, I will not marry you. Then again she says, okay, she comes to Bhishma. She says, then how can I live like this? You have to marry me because you have won me. Then Bhishma says, no, I cannot marry because I have made a pratigya. I took you for my younger brother, not for myself. Then that lady develops anger. She becomes so angry with that Bhishma, you are responsible for this. And then she goes and then she does some tapas, and then she does some very great tapas. And in her next life, she becomes that Shikhandi who would be instrumental for the death of Bhishma. So she wants to be born, she wants to kill Bhishma, but then she cannot kill, she is not having that power. So she wants such a Punarjanma rebirth that in that rebirth she would be able to kill this man. So even in that rebirth, she becomes that particular person called Shikhandi, who was earlier born as a girl and then becomes a female, becomes a man. And Bhishma does not fight with such people. And when Bhishma gives up shooting arrows, then Arjuna from behind that Shikhandi, he shoots arrows and then Bhishma falls down. So that is the story which we will see later. In brief, I have told you. So Bhishma, right now, Bhishma sent back that Amba. And then this Ambika and Ambalika, they were happy to marry this Vichitravirya, because this Vichitravirya also was a very, very handsome man and very young, handsome, and all royal qualities and whatnot. So they were happy to marry, and that marriage married life went on for some time. And this man, one weakness for this Vichitravirya was, he was so indulgent in sex. He was always indulgent in sex. And because of that, he fell ill after some time. So what happened? Tabhyam saha samasapta viharan pruthivi patihi Vichitravirya sarunaha yakshmana samagruhyata. Yakshma is somewhat like a tuberculosis or something like that. Probably in olden days, somebody who was afflicted with tuberculosis. Probably there was no remedy and then he was dying. It looks like that. And Yakshma, something like tuberculosis, and maybe something serious. So he fell ill because of his constant indulgence. So the first son died because of Satyavati's first son, that is Chitrangada, died because of arrogance and challenging everybody. The second son died because of his excessive indulgence in sex. So this man also died. Then what to do? Then these two women, their young girls are young, married, young wives are there. Then what to do? then there is nobody, there is no heir to the kingdom. And this Satyavati, the mother of these two boys, is there, and Bhishma, the son of Shantanu, is there. Then what to do? These two people, they discuss. These two people discuss. And this lady, Satyavati, also is a person who knows dharma, who knows all these principles of justice and then what has to be done, etc. So she says, I now come to the next chapter, that is 103. So she tells Bhishma, you are now the only person who is a hope for this entire kingdom. And if you have to give pinda to our forefathers, you are the only person. Because if you don't marry and if you don't beget children, there will be no pindas to your forefathers. So that was again a very great responsibility in those days. We saw a story about a person called Jaratkaru. Jaratkaru, who was just wandering, he was just a lonely person, just wandering. And he saw some people hanging upside down, holding on to some small grass rope type of thing. And he asked them, who are you? Then they said, we are the Pitru Devatas, we are the people who are about to fall into all unholy worlds, or we are going to all nether worlds, because one fellow called Jaratkaru, one useless fellow, he is not marrying and he is not getting children. If he doesn't marry and if he does not get children, we are going to hell. So then at that time he says, oh, I am that Jaratkaru. So if you recall that story. So this marrying and then getting a child or a son was a responsibility in those days. So this Satyavati, he tells Bhishma, you are the only person now, and you have to, whether your forefathers will get this Pinda Pradhana or not, you are the only person. Now you have to continue this race. This dynasty cannot close down. And so you marry. You have to marry them. Not marry. In those days, there was a particular system. So she is going to tell that system. Tvayi pindascha kirtischa santanancha pratishthitam. Whether your forefathers are going to get the pindam or not, you are the responsible. And now she says, there is an ancient practice called niyoga. So niyoga is a practice where if a king dies, suppose there is somebody who is a king's younger brother or somebody is there, that king's younger brother, he was supposed to cohabit with the woman and then beget a child, and that child will be the king. Or if nobody is there, if the king's brother also is not there, then they would invite some rishi, some great sage or some such person. And that great sage, as a matter of duty, as a matter of dharma, as a responsibility to preserve this dynasty, so he had to come. He had to means there was no compulsion, these people had to request it. And then that man would come and then he would cohabit with that lady, and then the child would be born. So that was a responsibility. It was supposed to be a very sacred responsibility, not some lustful activity. So she says, she asked Bhima, and she says, Tayor utpadayata patyam santanaya kulasyanaha man niyogan mahabaho dharmam kartumiharhasi. Mat niyogat. I am appointing you. Niyoga actually means appointment. So in Andhra Pradesh, in Telugu states, there is a particular sect of Brahmanas called Niyogis. Niyoga means somebody who is appointed. So it does not mean that they were appointed for such purpose. They were appointed, the people who took up jobs in the king's courts, they were called Niyogis. The people who did not take up jobs and then who stuck to this Vedic practice, etc., they were called Vedikas. So, but this here, Niyoga is slightly different meaning. Niyoga, she is saying, I am appointing you to produce sons through these two girls. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.